I wanted to show y'all how I use scraps. So this was a larger piece of water soluble. I folded it, covered the hoop, and you see that the design stitched out just fine, but I did use the pin method, the T-pin method. Whoops, sorry. I'm gonna go wash it out. All right, so I've cut it free from all the other washable. I'll be right back. All right, I've gone to the sink and I've rinsed him out. And I just put him on a towel and rub it gently. Just press it down. I have my iron heating up. Okay, so now he's not all wet. Sorry. There he is. And I see a thread that I need to trim. See the thread. All right, so I've dried him. I'm not dried him. I dried him with a towel, and I trimmed off all the threads. Now, I will tell you that the bobbin that I used for some of these is not the exact bobbin of the color that I stitched with. Like this one, I had a little bit lighter color in my bobbin, so it looks lighter on the back. All right, so I just rinsed it out enough to wash away that stabilizer. I didn't take it all out. And I'm going to do my quick dry method. Iron on. And I patted him and patted him and patted him with that towel. And then I just put my iron on top and I flip it over. And it doesn't take long for him to dry like this. I carefully turn him back over. And if you can see, I have used a darker thread up here, and this shows through on both sides. But I'm fine on all these others. It's just this dark thread. So you could remove this and put a yellow here, and then do darker, 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 until you get to the end, you know. And then you won't have that shadowing right here. All right, so this is the original design that I had in my zip file. But I'm going to make another, I'm going to change the satin stitch that's around each of these to be a little bit heavier, and I will provide that file for everybody here in just a little bit. All right, I apologize if any of you had any problems, and hopefully this thicker zigzag around the edge here will solve those issues. I'm going to show you my freestanding lace or water-soluble stabilizer method that I use. So I've got 1, 2, 3 different widths of stabilizer that I've lined up right here. This is my 4x4 hoop. So now I'm taking another piece. You can see it's all stuck together, and I'm going to fold this over. Sorry, I'm holding the camera instead of putting it on the tripod. I'm going to fold this over. Okay, so now I just need one more piece right here. Hang on. All right, so this bigger piece, this was laying over off the edge. I just took it up and I folded it over. That way I've got plenty of stabilizer that's going to be in my hoop. All right, now I've taken my T-pins and put T-pins all the way around. All right, so this is the original design that I sent out in the zip file. Hang on, sorry about it moving. I'm not using my tripod. This is the revised. You can see the satin stitches around the edges here are a little wider, and that's what I'm going to stitch in this stabilizer, wash away stabilizer that I just showed you how to hoop. All right, you can see I've changed the colors around on this revision, and that's how I'm going to stitch him. All right, while that turkey is restitching, I'm going to show you. See all these scraps that are outside this? This is what I stitched. I've been having a little issue with the candy cane that I'm hoping I got it straightened out. This was one time and I had enough room to come back and stitch it again, but this will be a future thing. So all these scraps that are out here, I cut them off and I put them in a bag that says scraps to dissolve. You can save these scraps and use it as a starch for your fabric, to start your fabric. It's a wash away. It'll starch it, you stitch. When you wet the fabric or wash it out of your quilt, it washes away. All right, so here it is. I cut this out. It's going in the garbage because it's a test piece. And then all these other pieces, they're not big enough. Well, this one might be. That one's big enough to go in my 4x4 hoop. But the rest of these are kind of small. All right, so see that one? I can use it again. But the rest of these are kind of small, so they go in the scrap bag. Okay, so remember that when you're stitching freestanding lace, each time you change thread and bobbin, you need to come out on the back and trim away these little pieces of thread and get rid of them. Just like on the front. Sorry. I've already trimmed them, but the threads where it starts stitching, sometimes it leaves a little tail, so it leaves a little tail and you want to trim that away. You see I've put the next color in my bobbin, and there's my top thread. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I have a little thread right here and I just trimmed. So I'm doing another hooping while that's stitching, and I wanted to show you. So on the edges, I make sure that I've got plenty to overlap here and over here, and on the side the same thing. You want to have it overlapping all the way around. So this was the last piece that I put on right here, and it's covering a hole, but I need something else to cover this to have two layers at least. I think this is going to stitch up here, but it's going to come down this way too, and I want to be able to stitch another pair of earrings again. Alright, so I changed the strip I put across here to make it more even. Now I'm going to put a couple of strips this way, vertical. So I put a couple pieces vertical. When you're using this scrap method, make sure you stay with your machine, because you see these little pieces sticking up? They could get caught. So I knew that this one was here, and I held it down. Sorry, got my hand. Should be fine now that that's down. Once you get a little layer down, so when it moves, I'm going to have to watch it now. I was gone when it was stitching this orange, and it flipped up this piece, but I didn't worry about it because it's a wash away, and that'll be washed out. But I did hold it when it came over here to stitch this one. Alright, so it's getting ready to jump over here in a minute. And I'm just making sure I'm ready to hold this piece down so they don't get caught in the needle and the presser foot. See that? There was that piece that almost flipped up. That's the only drawback. You cannot go off and leave this. You've got to stay right here with it. And this is the piece that got flipped up right here. This is nothing more than a chopstick. A real thin skewer from the grocery store. Better than having your finger under there. So here it is, stitching the body. And I've got it so that you can stitch the body one color and the head another color if you want. If you don't want to, then just when it stops and goes to the next color, just hit start. Oops, sorry, my bobbin winders stopped to scare the Ladites out of me. Okay, as you can see, this color has covered up all the running stitches underneath, so they're not going to show through. So this is the revised turkey with a wider satin stitch around the edges, in case the other one is giving y'all fits. Hang on, let me wash the stabilizer out. Alright, I've cut the turkey out of the stabilizer, unhooped and cut him out, and I'll go wash him. Alright, so here's the finished babies. This is the first one. It has a smaller stitch. This is the second one with a little bit larger stitch. Let me put them together and maybe you can see. This is a little bit larger. I hate to make it any wider. I think it would just be a deterrent. I don't know. I don't like it with a really wide satin stitch. Y'all tell me. So, I'm going to post this one in the files, and y'all can download the revision. But you see, I didn't have any issues with this one other than this showing through. That is this, whoops, this is this color showing through that yellow. And I changed it and put the yellow up here. I started with the yellow, green, orange, a rust, and a cranberry, which was this cranberry right here. I did it last. And I went ahead and stitched the body in a different color and the head in a different color. So let me turn these over. Alright, so that's the back. You can see I have a thread here that needs to be cut. And I've cut all the threads on this one. So he looks as good from the back as he does from the front. Alright, so this is both of them. This is the first one. It shadows here for this color. And this is the second one with the larger satin stitch right here. You can kind of see that. This is the front. No, that's the back. That's the front. Okay, that's the back. No, that's the back. This is the front. His little whatever this is has to be on the left-hand side. So, front, back, front, back. And this is the one that I didn't use the same bobbin thread, and I didn't change the colors. I used a different bobbin thread on this one than I did on the front, so he doesn't look the same. But he's still presentable. Okay, this one I used the same bobbin thread as I did in the top. Alright, thanks for watching. Hope this helps.